dog's birthday, their gotcha day, or you've got another fun celebration going on in your house, no party is complete without some cake, am I right? Since we've got some doggy birthdays going on in my family this week, I figured it's the perfect time to share my dog cake recipe with you. I know your dogs are gonna love this one. Let's get going. To make this doggy cake, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're going to grab all of our baking supplies. We've got a couple things here. So the first thing that I like to do is grab my food scale. Meat is actually the main ingredient in this recipe. I know, a cake with meat, but your dogs, that's gonna be their favorite kind of cake. So to measure out my meat, I do like to use a food scale. If you don't have one at home, you can always eyeball it, no big deal. The next thing you're gonna need is a peeler. We do have some vegetables in here that we like to wash and peel before we use them, so peeler is good. Another thing you're gonna need is a food processor. If you do not have one of these, you can use a cutting board and a knife. Really, the goal is we're gonna rough chop our veggies before we put them into our mixture. The next thing you're gonna need, of course, we gotta mix it all together. So we've got a mixing bowl here, and to shape our cake into a perfect little cake shape, I've got a mini spring-form pan. I love this. I picked this one up at Home Goods. I'm pretty sure you can get one just about anywhere, even a craft store. I love this thing. I've already gone ahead and sprayed it with a little bit of olive oil spray, so we're good to go there. And then also, this is totally not necessary, but I think it makes it easier when I'm going and putting my spring-form pan in and out of the oven. I like to just put it on top of something sturdy, and I use a baking pan. All right, now let's talk about our ingredients. Like I said before, the main ingredient here is meat, and I am using a ground beef. You wanna go ahead and measure out a 1/4 pound of your meat. And again, if you don't have a food scale, you can eyeball it, it'll be fine. Then I like to add some veggies in here just because they are healthy. They're a healthy addition, and I am going to use some carrot and also some broccoli. I've got just a couple florets, and I like to use a half of a big carrot. So I've washed it, peeled it, and cut it in half, and it's ready for our food processor. The next thing that we have is oatmeal. I'm using quick oats today, 1/4 cup. This is what's gonna help bind everything together. And then I also have an egg. An egg is also gonna be a good binder for us. Mix everything together with your hands. And then it's into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 50 minutes. Now that our cake's in the oven, it's time to start working on the frosting. We're actually gonna be using some sweet potato, and then I'm also gonna mix in some salmon. Now we've gotta cook the sweet potato, and since I only have one oven, and I also wanna do this kind of fast because I need it to cool before I can actually work with it, I'm just gonna poke some holes in it with a fork, and then I'm gonna put it into the microwave for about 7 minutes. My sweet potato has already cooled, so I'm just gonna go ahead and scrape this into my mixing bowl. I'm gonna try to get as much of it out as I can. Then I've already drained a can of salmon. I'm using a plain salmon that was in water, and I'm just gonna put about a half a can in. It doesn't need to be exact, kind of just eyeballing here. Icing is done, and the cake is out of the oven. I've let this cool for a little while, so I can touch everything, it's okay. But you can see it looks beautiful. It smells like, I mean, kind of like a hamburger, if I'm being honest, but it smells really good. And it is time to open it up and ice the cake. Now it's a party. I definitely recommend cutting up each slice of cake for your pup just to make it a little bit easier for them to eat. But as you can see, this recipe is a huge hit in our house.